Hi, and welcome back to Let's Learn to Sew. Today's project is going to be a glasses case holder, and we're going to be stitching it up on our serger. What you're going to need for this project, along with your serger, scissors, and iron and ironing board, is a piece of medium to lightweight interfacing that's fusible, and 2 pieces of cotton fabric. We're going to cut both the fabric and the interfacing to be 8.5 inches long by 8 inches wide. Once you get your fabric cut, it's time to apply the interfacing. What we're going to do is we're going to take the shiny side, or sometimes it'll have bumps, side of our interfacing, and we're going to lie it down on the wrong side of one of the pieces of cotton fabric. Line it up. We're going to take this over to the ironing board and press it into place. So I've got my little pressing table brought over, and again, remember to make sure that you're putting the shiny side, or the side that has the little bumps, down on the wrong side of your fabric. Your iron is set for whatever the interfacing you're using calls for. Got a pressing cloth here. You can use a piece of cotton fabric also, and you want to apply the interfacing again to the wrong side of your fabric, following the instructions that came with the interfacing you're using. Usually when you're applying interfacing, you're just going to press it into place. You're going to lift the iron up, scoot down a little bit, and continue. But again, make sure that you follow the instructions that came with your interfacing. Now I went ahead and I marked the back side of my fabric, the side that has the interfacing on it, just to give you guys an orientation of where we're at on the fabric. So what we're going to do is, I've got right sides together. I'm going to take this over to the serger, and I'm going to sew the 2 pieces together, right sides together, on that. I'm going to create the seam on the section that is 8 inches wide. So we're going to take it over, we're going to stitch, and I've got my machine set up for a 4-thread overlock. So my knife is engaged, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go right along the edge. I'm not actually going to cut off much of the fabric, if any, and I'm just holding my 2 pieces of fabric together with my hands, because we never want to hit pins with our sewing machine, but especially our serger. And we want to go ahead and make a serger chain after we're done. And if you're new to serging, you always want to have a serger chain that is several inches hanging off your project and leave several inches here at the back of the serger. Now we're going to take this back over to the table and press it. So we're going to fold this back so that wrong sides are together. And what you want to do is just kind of work it so that your seam is right along the edge. And we're going to press that into place. So there's the seam I just created. Now what we're going to do is fold it in half. We're going to take this over to the serger, and we're going to stitch down the long side and then the short side. To make that easier, since we're not going to use any pins, what I'm going to do is fold this in half, making sure all my edges line up and everything is straight, and then press it. That's going to be a lot easier to serge and to keep together. Again, 4-thread overlock. I'm going to line up the edge of my fabric right up against that blade. If you're new to serging, you don't have to lift your presser foot, you just lift the edge. I should have said that in that last clip. Okay. And then again, we come off the edge, go over that last little piece. Time to secure our serger threads, tails, and there's a couple ways to do it. One way is to just take your tail and thread it through. And this is just a big needle. There's actually needles made for this. You could use some seam sealant. Just go ahead and do that to all three. Once you have your serger tail secured, it's time to turn it right sides out. Once you've got it turned right side out, and then you're going to take a point turner or whatever it is you normally use to push out your corners. Do that in both of the bottom corners. Take it over and give it a good press. Once you've pressed it, your glass case is ready to be used. If you enjoyed the video, hope you'll give us a thumbs up and be sure to visit Let's Learn to Sew, your sewing and pattern making headquarters.